Okay, so this is my second time doing this series of videos, or this test, or this whole thing. And the last time I did this, I did a test of a barrel fixture pretty much exactly as a fellow requested that I do on the internet, with the exception of the fact that he said he wanted to see an unrequited video. He wanted to see an uncut. He wanted to see a non-stop. He wanted to see a video sequence that I guess couldn't be faked, or could, and I understand that. I didn't have the capacity to do that, but I did an awful lot in my 22 minutes that I had. I got inboard, outboard. But the problem is, I recorded that one with the music player. It was before I actually had this channel, and I've been contemplating, talking about putting up a channel for a number of years, mainly because my opinions are pretty I sometimes get vocal with my opinions, and I disagree with everybody on the planet. Consequently, when I share my views in public or on an internet forum or somewhere, they tend to kick me off, and I even got kicked out of gunsmithing school for political reasons. Best student in the class. Someday we'll talk, but someday maybe I'll share that story with you. But I'm not a gunsmith. I went to school to be a gunsmith, and I got expelled. I got absolutely summarily expelled for committing no crime. But that's neither here nor there. The point I'm making is that this is the second go around. I've played with lighting a little bit. I've learned a little more about lighting. I hope this time I didn't get it too dark. We're going to find out. But we're going to do this setup thing. The other thing is I'm changing up the focus. So I'm going to be going back and forth here on focus. I'm going to be going back and forth on lighting. Right now I'm going to switch this over to autofocus and see what happens, and as we go I'll try different things, but we're going to do a bunch of completely different things now. I'm going to take this barrel, which is of no use to me whatsoever. It's a 243 Ackley barrel, but it's got some things seriously wrong with it. So I am going to it's a 12 twist. A 12 twist is really of no use to me. I shoot light, I shoot heavy. It's kind of like people ask me, what's your favorite pistol? Or what's your favorite caliber? Or whatever. Those kind of questions drive me insane because they're meaningless. And, well, what am I doing? But basically, to me, there's 22s, and there's 44, 45-ish type stuff. A 45 for shooting at people, and a 44 for hunting. So there's my favorite pistol. It's 3. Same thing applies to barrel twists. This is going to be chambered in something that I call a 6x47 Lapua. It's my design of a 6x47 Lapua that I designed back in oh man, I don't know, pre-2000. And when the Lapua brass, the 6.5 brass hit the market, I bought a whole bunch of the new stuff and took it from there. But I've got a bunch of different... The point is, I like the cartridge, I like the round. It replaced and does more than the 243 Ackley ever did. In the interim, just so that you know the history of this, I spent some time with the 6BR. Enough that I got it to do retarded things, really good things, enough to, again, get me in trouble on the internet, big time. So, in the middle, we've got, hey, I just noticed something under the light. When this barrel was originally built, the guy must have screwed it up. That's why this tinion is an 1.236" instead of an 1.25". There's a faint series of lettering underneath there. He must have buffed it off and moved the lettering over. Oh well. Just interesting what you see when you're under the lights. I had never noticed that in all the years that I've owned this barrel. So I have a 12 twist barrel, which I will never use for my 6x47 platform. I always shoot heaviest for caliber, or most accurate for caliber. Period. Everything else between, I don't even understand. In 6mm, I shoot 13-14 twist in 64 to 70 grain bullets for short range accuracy. And then I jump up to 8 twists. I have twists down to 6.5 because I'm playing with some 120 plus grain 6mm bullets. 6, 7, 8. 8 just come, but this is 12. 12 is useless to me. I can't imagine. I've got, I don't know, probably got a couple, not even a couple, 600 or 800 88 flat base with a VLD front on them that maybe I could make some use for. But what I'm going to use this for is, I hope we're going to Gordy this bad dog. I hope that due to the fluting, it has some curvatures in it. Up here on this end, it's cut way down. I didn't know any better at the time. I said put a muzzle brake on it. The guy threaded it 5/8 20 or 24 or whatever this stupid size is. It's a size that you use for hunting guns. Why on earth would you take a big old meaty barrel like this and take that much stresses off it and let it blow out? But this is before I knew that. This is before I was able to make those judgments. So now I have a barrel that's got a screwed up muzzle. The muzzle end's no good. The back end's got a weird thread pitch. No, I shouldn't say that. It's just a weird diameter. I haven't even, doesn't screw into anything, but that does not mean that it's a weird thread pitch by any stretch. I sometimes, I got two problems with this extemporaneity here. I misspeak a lot, and it's a lot harder to cover when I make bad assumptions. Here I made a bad assumption. In fact, I made a completely bad, because what I'm looking for is an 18 pitch, and this is an 18 pitch. So maybe in this you're going to get to watch me do my level best to chase out a set of threads too. So, yeah, not my strong suit. I hate finding threads because I have these moves that I like to use, like zero everything out. When you chase the threads, you can't zero everything out. And that sucks for me. But anyway, that is the plan this time. We're going to take this barrel, we're going to make a fireform barrel out of it, because I'm sure it's been fired like crazy on the dog patch. When I fireform, I'm going to fireform using shotgun powder only, no bullets, because I just went through a complete fail of trying to do a neck turning on the lathe scenario, and it was horrifying. I have to make a fireform. Right now, my fireform barrels have all been converted. I don't have a good fireform barrel for this because I made a lot of brass. But all of a sudden, I'm playing with another thing. I'm playing with nutting. I'm playing with, I've modified a reamer. I got stuff that nobody's ever going to know about because it's meaningless unless you've been with me on my odyssey of 7 different generations of what I call a 6x47 Lapua, which is completely different than everybody else's 6x47 Lapua. The dies that are designed for the Lapua would never fit mine. They would oversize it like crazy. Mine is way fat, way different, but none of that matters to illustrate what we're doing. So the purpose of this video is to try to show the indexing method. I'm going to try to time this barrel. And in the meantime, I'm going to get something done that will be useful for me, and maybe I can use it in another video for a fireforming video. So that's where we are, and that's what we've got going, and we will try to make it as non-boring and try to speed things up as much as we can, but this is a slow process. Timing a barrel, chambering a barrel this way takes 10 times as long. I mean, it takes hours. So consequently, I charge a lot more. I charge double for these what you would for slopping a barrel in the lathe between centers. But some of the things we're going to try, we're going to set this up between centers, because I can do that, and we're going to probably find that the chamber runs nicely on centers. That's my guess. I know that this guy didn't index. So hopefully between centers we find that he did good work, that this chamber is nice and concentric to the center line. Then I'm going to Gordy it. We're all going to hate that. And I'm going to bet it's going to be crooked. I'm going to bet it's going to be different. So now, once it's different, what do we do with that? That's the question of the day. What do we do with that? We're also going to thread this thing down for a nutting system, because as a fireform barrel, that's what I want. Don't care what anybody else thinks. That's what I want. I want to be able to adjust this, because different lots of brass, different conditions, different days, different times. I will say that 90% of the time I go out, I get my brass crush fit, I walk outside, patop, 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 I shoot it into the air, and what falls out is perfectly tractable brass to be used in whatever gun. But sometimes that's not true. Sometimes I need to maybe pump it just a fuzz in, or just a fuzz out. Maybe they feel looser than I'd like for my second firing in the gun. Essentially what I do is my fireform firing is tight, 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 like heel the bolt closed. And we'll have, and do have already, some videos expressing and showing and explaining what heel the bolt closed means. It's tight. And the brass falls out and everything's good. Then the next firing, I kind of hope that that first slap has relaxed just a little bit, and maybe I can get a little bit of feel back in the chamber. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But here's where the head spacing thing comes up, because I believe that depending on how I head space this, I can head space it a little long. Well, first of all, I've already established I can head space it a little long so it falls out of this chamber, but then when I go to the next chamber it goes in. That's really the method that I use most of the time now, because I've kind of got the fire. But we're going to do this too, hopefully. We're going to go through the buildup of the fireform thing. We're going to say, okay, let's try it with 30 grains, 40 grains, 50 grains. Let's find out 20, 30, 40. So I want this adjusted. So we're going to do a bunch of things. We're going to do nutting experiments on this. We're going to do, and hopefully it doesn't all fall apart, or I don't screw it up right in the middle, but we'll see what happens with all that. So that's where we're going, and that's what we're doing, and I will see you on the next installment.